Boxing truth here. Let's talk about it a little bit. The Battle of Brisbane this past weekend. Talk a little bit about the fight. And it's really a video about was Manny Pacquiao set up in order to help create another top-ranked star, in order to help make Jeff Horn into a star. But as for the fight itself, Manny Pacquiao won the fight. I mean, let's be real. Let's be real about this. Pacquiao won the fight. It's not an opinion. For people that felt Jeff Horn won by a slight margin, that try to justify that Jeff Horn won, my only question to you is, was it simply because Jeff Horn did better than you expected? I mean, that's all I was hearing throughout this whole promotion when this fight was signed, throughout fight week, throughout the months to the build-up, from the media, the so-called boxing experts calling this fight. I mean, all I was hearing was that Jeff Horn ain't got no chance. He's going to get trashed by Manny Pacquiao. He's a bum from Brisbane. He's not going to be competitive. He's got absolutely no shot to beat him. I mean, this was simply the Pacquiao Marquez 3 treatment for Pacquiao. I mean, they were saying the same shit before that third Marquez fight. Marquez is going to get destroyed. He's going to get knocked out. He's got no chance. Man, he's destroying all these bigger guys. It ain't going to happen. Then Marquez gets in a competitive fight with Pacquiao, and people were saying that Marquez was robbed, even though that's been disproven in the past. But the same shit happened in this fight. I mean, I knew better. I said in my prediction video, look, Jeff Horn can fight. I've been telling you guys for months, this is a real fight for Manny Pacquiao. This is a kid who's got skills. He's rough. He's physical. He's got power in his right hand. And he's a much bigger, younger, fresher guy and stronger. I mean, I knew better. I was not surprised what Jeff Horn did. I mean, I give the kid a lot of credit. He fought his ass off. I mean, he did his job. He put it all on the line. I mean, he was the reason why the fight was so good. It was his effort that made the fight very good, very entertaining. So I give a lot of props, a lot of credit to Jeff Horn for that. But he was given too much credit. He was given a trophy for simply trying hard, not for winning the fight. He was competitive against Manny Pacquiao. Yes, I agree with that. But he was not as effective as Manny Pacquiao offensively. He drew a lot of punches. He was aggressive. He was energetic. He was active. But the big difference in this fight was Manny Pacquiao was landing the cleaner, more effective punches. He was landing the cleaner shots, and Jeff Horn was doing a lot of missing and wasn't able to land consistently as Manny the clean shots that Manny landed on him. That was the difference in the fight. But Horn, he started out fast, won the first round, surprised a lot of people. Didn't surprise me. I knew Horn was going to be a tough out for Manny. Manny was going to have to dig deep. He was going to have to figure him out because it was a different style, much different style than he's compared to fighting, that he's used to fighting. So it took him around to figure out Horn's rhythm and his footwork. But slowly but surely, Pacquiao was starting to put more of a beating on Jeff Horn. And, Jeff Horn, he showed a lot of heart, a lot of guts, a lot of balls. I mean, I give him credit. He wasn't intimidated. A lot of Manny Pacquiao opponents are intimidated, or the event's too big for them. I mean, Jeff Horn showed up. He wasn't intimidated. He wasn't scared. He went in there and he tried to fuck Pacquiao up. Give him all the credit in the world for that. But it didn't turn out the way he wanted to. He tried to fuck Pacquiao up, but it ended up being Manny Pacquiao sunning him in the fight. Pacquiao sunned Jeff Horn in the 9th round. Whooped his ass. You could have easily called that a 10-8 round. But what made this fight a robbery, of course, was the 3 judges' scorecards. All 3 of those judges did a terrible job. All incompetent scorecards. They all turned in trash scorecards simply because they gave rounds to Horn that he did not deserve. Every single one of those judges did. At least one or two of the judges gave Horns round 2, gave Horns round 4, gave even Horn round 5, round 8. Very clear Manny Pacquiao rounds that he won. So the scorecards were atrocious. It took away some of the more respect Jeff Horn would receive. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, Jeff Horn didn't rob Manny Pacquiao. I mean, the 3 judges robbed Manny Pacquiao. So instead of Horn getting all this respect, getting all this credit, I mean, he's getting all these negative comments directed towards his social media pages. He's getting all this hate. Pretty much what Timothy Bradley went through in his gift decision over Manny Pacquiao in his first fight with Manny. But it was a really good fight, entertaining. One of the more entertaining Pacquiao fights. Manny showed his greatness, dug deep, figured Jeff Horn out, and whooped his ass. And should have gotten the decision. I mean, Manny won the fight within the range of 116-111, 116-112, 115-113, 115-112, 114-113. He won within that range. You had to really bend over backwards to give Jeff Horn 6 rounds in that fight. But he was competitive. You can argue he won as many as 4 or 5 rounds. But he didn't defeat Manny Pacquiao. But it was a good fight. I mean, Jeff Horn, even though he didn't topple a legend, not in my eyes at least, he showed that he's a world-class fighter, that he's a legitimate contender, that he can fight. And for Manny, it's unbelievable, man. I mean, this guy just constantly gets screwed. His ring record has been completely sabotaged. He's been robbed of 4 wins in his career. I mean, his real record should be 62 wins, 63 wins, 4 losses, maybe 39 KOs, 40 KOs. He's been robbed of knockouts in his career as well. I mean, it's just a shame, man. I don't know what it is when it comes to Manny. I mean, the guy just doesn't get treated as he should with some of these bogus decisions. How you have these paid shills trying to slander him, trying to discredit his career as much as they can. I mean, it's sickening what Manny Pacquiao has had to go through in his career. And for him to be so gracious in defeat and to take his L like a man, it just makes you like him, love him even more. He's a marvel in the sport. He's one of the greatest warriors in the sport. 8th division champion, willing to fight all these bigger guys. Always the smaller guy in the ring. The guy could make 135 pounds if he really tried, and he's still whipping these guys that are twice the size of him. It just shows you how great Manny Pacquiao is. And the Pacquiao of the past, the prime, he would have knocked this kid out. But of course, Manny physically is not the same fighter anymore, but he's still a top fighter. He proved it. He handled this kid. He tamed this young lion. And should have gotten the decision. But, you know, the powers that be, the greedy handlers of this event, they had other ideas. Was Manny Pacquiao set up? Very possibly. I mean, when you look into it, Bob Arum was very adamant about making this fight, was pushing this fight with Pacquiao, even though Pacquiao had other ideas, was negotiating behind Arum's back. But Arum, he's got a delicate situation with Manny. Arum is in the best interest of Top Rank. He doesn't give a shit about Manny Pacquiao's best interest. He's in the best interest of his company. So he's in a delicate situation with Manny. He's got a fighter who's in the twilight of his career. And he's trying, in my opinion, Bob Arum has been trying to get him beat for a while by someone in his stable. It didn't go to court. It didn't go well with Timothy Bradley. Bradley got dominated. They couldn't rob him. He dominated Vargas. They couldn't rob him. So Bob Arum signs this Jeff Horn kid to a co-promotional deal. Watches him fight in person down in Auckland last December. Was impressed. His matchmakers are telling him he has a chance against Pacquiao. So he makes the fight. because he did have a chance. He had a decent chance, but not a great chance of beating Manny Pacquiao because of the experience factor, the fact that Manny is still a top fighter. And Horn, he gave a great effort. He was very game. He was competitive, more competitive than Vargas or Bradley, but he just wasn't quite ready yet for Manny Pacquiao. That's what happened in the fight. He got drowned. He got sunned. Just wasn't quite ready to defeat this guy. He had the potential, but he needed little more experience. So when you look into it, Bob Arum's trying to get Manny beat by someone in his stable. He's running out of options, and especially because the business side is very difficult with Manny now. Manny wants to get paid, and Manny's not the star that he once was. Those million pay-per-view buys in the U.S., those days are long gone. So Arum has to be very creative to try to get these type of purses for Manny in order for him to take these fights against the guys in the stable. And there's already reports that Manny's contract with Top Rank is expiring. There's rumblings that Manny was going to continue his career without Top Rank, perhaps do fights with other universes out there like the PBC, or perhaps venture on his own to see if he can make the biggest fights possible instead of being limited to just the Top Rank universe and for guys that Arum presents to him. Because Manny picks the opponent. Arum's not lying about that. Manny picks the opponent, but it's Arum that presents the opponents for him. And Manny picks who he wants. But the options are running thin. And Arum needed somebody in his stable to off-seat Pacquiao at his current position as WBO welterweight champion. And now that's happened with very incompetent scorecards. So now, Arum's a genius. He pretty much pushed his fight to the boxing world. The boxing world were not very thrilled with the fight. I liked the fight. I knew it would be a competitive, good fight. I've seen Jeff Horn fight plenty of times. I knew it was going to be a good fight. Ended up being a good fight. Ended up being a shitty decision. But now, they can set up a rematch, and the rematch will even be bigger. And for Arum, that's more in-house money. And a chance to create even another star in the stable, and Jeff Horn, especially if he defeats Pacquiao in a rematch again. There's a lot of confusion about the rematch, a lot of different reports. Pacquiao's saying that he's got a rematch clause, but he doesn't want to fight Jeff Horn in Australia. Doesn't like the officiating that happened, all the dirty tactics that were allowed. He probably watched the fight again, probably looked at the scorecards and was fuming. I would have been fuming too. I mean, Manny, he really takes his L like a man. I mean, any other more normal guys out there would have been throwing bitch tantrums with the way Manny was robbed of that decision this past Saturday. But, it is what it is. Jeff Horn got the decision. I'm not going to, shit on Jeff Horn. I mean, he didn't rob Manny. It was the 3 judges that did a terrible job. Jeff Horn, he did his job. He fought his heart out. He gave the fans an entertaining battle. He put it all on the line. He got his ass whooped. But ended up getting the decision because he did better than anybody expected. I was one of the few that expected what he would do. I knew he would give Manny a tough fight. And I was excited about this fight. I was looking forward to see how much Manny still has left, and he showed it, man. He can still hang with these young lions. It will be tough fights, but he showed that he's got dog in him. He still has a desire to fight. And man, it was an entertaining battle in Brisbane. Too bad the decision was the wrong decision. But it was an excellent performance by both guys, all things considering. Manny, if he wants the rematch, he can have it. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Manny was to retire. I mean, he's too good for boxing, man. The way boxing has treated him, the bullshit decisions that go against him, always gracious in defeat. always delivers action in the ring. He don't need this shit no more, man. He don't need to be in these type of rough fights at his age. He defeated Horn on Saturday night. And he was just a victim of dirty politics and the dirty business of boxing. The greedy handlers of this event had other ideas. They wanted to take away the shine of Manny and give some shine to the Brisbane boy, who definitely deserves some shine, earned some credit, deserves credit for his performance. But he was gifted a win this past Saturday. But if there's a rematch, Jeff Horn can definitely prove that he is a legitimate champion with a definitive win against Pacquiao. I'd rather Pacquiao retire. I don't expect him to win a rematch against Horn, especially if it's in Australia. Jeff Horn will always be a tough fight for Manny. And now with 12 rounds of experience under his belt, with Manny Pacquiao, it may even be a tougher fight. Manny is just getting older, and Jeff Horn at 29 is only going to get better. But he took an ass whooping this past Saturday. It was his first ass whooping as a professional. But he feels like a winner. Feels like he won the fight. But we'll see if the rematch comes to fruition. I'm up for the rematch if it does happen. I'd rather see Manny retire. He doesn't need to prove anything else. He showed his greatness once again in the fight with Jeff Horn, and I expect more foul play in a rematch, especially if it's held in Australia. But we'll see what happens. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.